So in lieu of this game getting a remake in a little bit, I decided to go and replay it. And you know what? This game is freaking dope. I love this game. Like, this game is amazing. Like, all these years later, it's awesome. Anyway, so if you don't know what this game is about, it's about pirates. I know, who could have guessed? Which I'm pretty sure is every man's dream at one point in our lives. Why?
I don't know.
So the game begins with a ship battle in the middle of a storm. So we're just gonna start off with the final battle from Pirates of the Caribbean 3 as the opening act. Well, go ahead and threaten me with a good time. So anyway, we play as this privateer named Edward. And in the middle of a battle, a random ass assassin jumps aboard his ship, and then they both explode into a flashback. In the flashback, we learn of Edward's motivations, which boil down to...
We've got to have money.
So he leaves his, spoilers, pregnant wife to seek his fortune.
Gold.
Anyway, Edward manages to not drown and makes it to the shore with the assassin.
Was it good for you as well?
So the assassin makes a critical mistake by asking Edward for help in exchange for gold.
For many golden coins?
You're better than this, Mike!
You're breaking my balls, Mike. Tell you what, throw in a new set of duds and you got yourself a deal.
At which point, Edward instantly tries to rob his ass, but the assassin has a gun that doesn't work and immediately runs off. But then Edward begins stalking him like he's the freaking predator and murderizes him. Then Edward steals his clothes and his letter of accommodation to the governor of Havana.
Senor Duncan Walpole, I accept your most generous offer and await your arrival with eagerness. If you truly possess the information we desire, we have the means to reward you handsomely. Though I will not know your face by sight, I believe I can recognize the costume made infamous by your secret order. Therefore, come to Havana in haste, and trust that you shall be welcomed as a brother. Su más humilde servidor, el gobernador Laureano Torres y Ayala.
Mr. Walpole, let's collect your reward.
Beat the shit out of us too!
Later on, Edward spots a ship on the island and rescues the captain of said ship, who turns out to be Stede Bonnet, whose life story is freaking hilarious, but I'll have to cover him in another video because it is way too damn long.
Read a book, people!
Press that like button if you'd like to see it. Anyway, Edward introduces himself as the assassin Duncan Walpole, and they sail out together to Havana. We flash forward to the present day, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm gonna skip this whole entire part of the game because, one, I don't give a crap about it, and neither should you. Anyway, back to the piracy. Yeah, baby, man, I'm so excited to play this. Alright, so Edward and Stede make it to Havana, and even though Edward tries to keep his identity hidden, he gets recognized almost immediately, and this ensues in a bar fight.
Things to say that will always start a fight.
Guys want to fight?
But then the guards show up, and Edward needs to haul ass.
Parkour, parkour!
Eventually, Edward manages to shake off the guards and meets up with Stede, who got his ass beat and managed to get his sugar and Edward's letters stolen.
Oh, come on. Really, man? You couldn't last like 30 seconds?
After an extensive mission of sneaking, assault, and breaking and entering, Edward eventually manages to retrieve his letters, but not any of Stede's sugar. But that doesn't matter because they're homies now.
Oh, God. That would be an adventure. But no, I'm a husband and a father. I have responsibilities. Life can't be all pleasure and distraction, Duncan.
So basically, Edward just told this married man to leave his wife and become a pirate.
Nice! Yeah!
So Edward straight up walks to the governor's mansion and is like... And the guards hit him with the...
Walk this way.
So anyway, Edward walks into the courtyard and sees some guy doing target practice. I mean, it's pretty normal, right? A man needs his hobbies.
Woods Rogers, a pleasure. I don't know how he did it, but he made that sound bloody threatening.
Oh, no.
Goku, get me out this planet right now. I'm serious. Instant transmission.
So for those of you not in the know, Woods Rogers was a real-life pirate hunter. Basically, he was the Punisher of his time, but specifically for pirates. Then there's also some random-ass musketeer who I don't recognize. Then, the random-ass musketeer straight up gives Edward his guns and wrist blades. What a nice fella, what a nice guy.
You are a gentleman and a scholar.
So I know I haven't mentioned this yet, but basically Edward is infiltrating the governor's mansion, which is a Templar hideout under the guise of Duncan Walpole, the assassin turned traitor, for money.
Welcome to the world I live in. What is the exposition?
The assassins have trained you well, Duncan. You chose a perfect time to leave them behind.
At great risk, I imagine. Betraying the assassins is never good for one's health.
Well, neither is drinking liquor, but I am drawn to its dangers all the same.
Eventually, we get to see the governor, and Edward gives him the letters of recommendation and... Is that Chaos Emerald?
Now I'll get the treasure of Babylon!
Then the governor performs a weird occult ritual and gives everyone a ring, and Edward has the expression of...
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Okay, so I hope you're ready for some exposition, because here it comes. The Templars are looking for an observatory that gives them basically the same technology as scouters from DBZ, and the only one who could lead them to the observatory is a man called Roberts, who we later learn is Black Bart, another notorious pirate, who is apparently something called a sage.
Everybody got that? Good!
Then the governor is like, well, that was enough exposition for today, go take a nap. And we do, because, you know, naps are important. The next morning at the docks, we see my boy Steed, hey, what's up Steed, who calls out to Edward in front of Woods Rogers.
Oh my god, this pothead's gonna get me arrested.
Bro, are you trying to get me killed? And you know, Rogers is like, this is getting a little bit suspicious. But then Edward is like, oh bro, don't worry about it. I definitely used the fake name to get here. But apparently Woods Rogers believes us because he gives Edwards the...
Very nice, Shiza-chan!
Anyway, the governor shows up and we get to see him give Black Bart, aka the Sage, the Chaos Emerald, which is apparently the key to the much maligned observatory. Anyway, as they're walking by, the governor's group is attacked by assassins, which Edwards proceeds to, you know, neutralize and murderize, because in case you forgot, this man is not an assassin. He is a pirate.
Do what you want, cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate!
But my question is, why is this man so good at fighting that he can take out like 8 assassins by himself?
I know Kung Fu.
After we fight off the assassins, Woods Rogers says that he's leaving for England.
Home! Home! England!
And Edward finally gets paid for his services. But apparently it wasn't enough, because later on Edward was having a drink with Steed and he comes up with a new plan.
Know what I'm thinking? I'd like to see this observatory the governor's going on about. He said it were like a device that could follow people around and show where they were.
A ludicrous idea. Imagine my wife with such an advantage over me.
And imagine what a thing like that'd be worth. Sell that to the right person, and I'd be the richest pirate, privateer in the West Indies. I'll catch you up, Bonnet. There's a sage in that house I must speak to in private.
Hell yeah, this man's the ultimate capitalist.
Must crush capitalism.
So Edward sneaks into the governor's mansion, but finds some corpses on the ground, and he gets ambushed by the governor, who finally figures out that Edward was in fact a fraud. Then Edward gets thrown into the brig and not murdered immediately for some reason. And in the brig of a ship, he meets his besto friendo, Adewale. But that is a story for next time. Goodbye.